Hey, hello, carnivore hunters. This is Doug.
And I'm Rick.
Hey, guys, we have a special treat today. We're talking with the other carnivore brothers on the on YouTube, or unless you watch their channel more often than we're the other ones. But Ashley, Rhett, just introduce yourself.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
all right.
I'm Rhett
Go ahead, Rick.
Rogers with the Carnivore Brothers.
And I'm Ashley Rogers, the brother of the Carnivore Brothers. The brother.
Yeah, carnivore hunter. So it's kind of funny because that we stumbled across the Carnivore Brothers, and we just thought, man, it'd be fun to do live with these guys because Doug and I are brothers, they're brothers, and looking through their stuff, we have a lot of very similar stories, and hopefully we'll get into all that tonight. How long do you guys have? Do you have a time limit?
I'm pretty good.
These generally go an hour or so, and I'm pretty open myself. So,
Well, if do you guys want to get started and just kind of tell us how you guys got started on all this?
Sure. I'll
go
start,
ahead and kick
Rhett.
us off, Ash.
Since I guess I was introduced to the carnivore diet myself first. I had struggled for many years with type 2 diabetes. About 8 years ago, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and really had no idea what it was at all. And when I was originally went in, did my first blood work, it was for after my 40th birthday. I went in to get my labs done. I'd never really done that before. And so got that done. My doctor told me my A1C was 11.3 and was absolutely floored. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it meant, but he was like, no, you got to go on meds. You got to go. This is serious. Like your life's in jeopardy right now. Like it's very serious. And so I really pushed back because I've always been the type that I didn't want to go on any medications and knew the side effects. And I'm just like, no, I've never done anything to help myself, change my diet, exercise, do anything like that. Let me do that first. And he was like, no, you can't. You're too far gone. There's no way. Your cholesterol's through the roof. Your type 2 diabetes is out of control. You've got to go on meds right now. So he wrote the prescription. I never picked it up. And anyway, I went and saw another doctor of mine that a chiropractor I was seeing that I trusted a lot with kind of some alternative medicine stuff like that. And I said, hey, doc, how serious is this? And he said, it's serious, but he said, it's not going to kill you in 3 months. So why don't we try this first? Let's do the diet change. Let's do some of that. My wife and I went on a paleo diet originally. This was 8 years ago. And we had really good success. 3 months, very strict because I was scared for my life. Very, very strict. And I did the paleo diet for 3 months, really hard, and came back, and my A1C score was down to like 5.8, almost not even pre-diabetic at that point, and amazing results, which told me right then and there, okay, diet has something to do with it, because of course it was diet and exercise. I didn't exercise either because I was out of shape, didn't want to exercise, but I could handle it. Okay, let's change the diet. And it was painful because I didn't know what to do. And I really thank my wife for really helping me get through those and teaching me what carbs were and really holding me accountable to no eating sugars and all that kind of stuff. But I proved to myself that diet had a lot to do with those results, right? But
Yep.
what I do, I went out and rewarded myself with pizza and ice cream because I did so good for 3 months and started the same old habits. And 8 years later, I was right back to where I started. I knew I was for a long time. I'd been there for a long time. I just didn't want to admit it. Didn't want to go back to the doctor. I tested my blood sugar levels and I knew they were extremely high. And anyway, buddy of mine told me about Carnivore Diet about November, a little over a year ago, and I just started doing the research on it, and I was like, man, this is something I can get behind. Eating meat all the time, I love meat. Love to smoke meats. Steaks are my thing, and I just loved it. So immediately went on it pretty hardcore, and that was the start of it. I'd really done a great job already, kind of starting to cut back the carbs and sugars because I knew that was the problem. So I did that while I was researching, but that was when I was studying the Dr. Berry videos and the all the different YouTube doctors on there, and really kind of trying to take it all in, absorb it. And then I went all in, and I've done really well on it. I just hit my 1 year anniversary for Carnivore in February, And with the exception of the cruise that we went on in the summer where we cheated a little bit, been very, very loyal to it and very, and done great. My last A1C was 5.2. I'm not
Nice.
even considered diabetic anymore. The cholesterol numbers are all perfect. Just feeling amazing. And the rest was so far. I mean, it's history now, but it's just really the beginning. I'm super excited about where we're going. So this year I'm focusing in on me and getting back to some fit and lifting and doing some things to try and help build some muscle. And I'm not a big weight room guy or anything like that, but doing some workouts, some push-ups, a few things. We've done some challenges together on the channel, and we're going to continue that.
Nice.
Feeling great.
How about you, Rhett?
Yeah, so I saw this guy on Facebook one day and messaged him and said, "Dude, you look so great. What's going on? Like, what are you doing that's different, right?" And so he started telling me about the carnivore diet and like same reaction, right? I'm like, wait, I can eat meat and I'm good. Okay, I'm in. So it didn't take long to convince me. But I was dealing with some medical issues of my own. I had been diagnosed with some severe sleep apnea. I was having I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I was having a crazy number of episodes per night when they did my sleep study and that. And so eventually got on one of those machines, and that was ultimately the driving force for me wanting to change and do something different because I hated wearing that thing on my face.
Yep.
I had also been dealing with depression and anxiety for years, and I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but starting the carnivore diet with Ashley not long after him. I started February 26th, so I'm coming up on my 1 year. And for me, the immediate drastic change was just weight loss quickly. I lost the first 30 or 40 real fast. And just felt amazing. It dropped out of my face so fast. I was able to get rid of that sleep apnea machine within weeks. And just I was all in at that point, right? Just starting to love life again. And I was depressed and down and frustrated and tired and in pain constantly. And so I have not been as good as Ashley for the year. Since Thanksgiving, I took a turn and I've been all over the place, up and down. So I've been on the struggle bus for a little bit. But I have maintained the weight, keeping that off, and I am 100% in on the carnivore lifestyle. I just have to get rededicated and refocused, because the toughest part for me getting going and throughout was the mind game. And when you've got a family and they're all eating other stuff and you're cooking multiple meals a day and you've got friends that are offering you this and that, or you go out to places, it messes with your head. So you really have to stay strong in your mind to do something like this. And once you've been doing it for a while, it's not nearly as hard. But when you fall off the wagon a little bit, you struggle to get back on. At least I did.
Yeah. So
we've planned some out actually here and there, like when we do a family ATV trip in the fall. And we knew, so the way that works is each couple has their own, whatever, 2 dinners over the course of the week. So we knew, I mean, we could control when Rick made dinner or when I made dinner, but when our sister, when it was her turn to make the meal, or our nephew, we knew we were going to kind of go off the rails. So we kind of planned those out. And so, yeah, we haven't been 100% strict, but I've personally found that by planning those things out, and then when I know something's coming, I eat the biggest breakfast I can. I pile on extra eggs and extra bacon or whatever, just so that I'm not hungry. And then, and even when we were doing that, there was a lot of times somebody, put some bread down, some garlic bread down, and I'd just be like, nah, I'm not. I don't even want it that much anymore. Like, it's not worth it.
Whereas before, I couldn't leave it on the table. Like, I mean, I had to gobble up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There can be no leftovers.
Yeah, no, but so some just similarities between you guys and us is I think Ashley, your story and mine is somewhat the same, where I had been told for years and years that I was pre-diabetic. And then December of 2022, I was type 2 diabetic all of a sudden. I was at like 6 point. I was on the low end, so I was like 6.8, something like that. And so at that point, I had decided to go on a keto diet, which I failed miserably at, because when you're doing keto, it's a good diet if you can do it. But I just found that I was still hungry all the time. And then, I'd break down and go buy that bag of chips or something. And so that's where I failed with keto. And, but Doug started the carnivore diet first, and similar again, I saw Doug. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He said carnivore. And so I researched the heck out of it, and I eventually started it. And then, here we are today, right? So.
Yeah. And I started it originally. Part of my motivation, my wife had some GI issues, and doctors had her on all kinds of pills, and for a decade. And I was just like, hey, let's try this, see if we can get you off of that stuff. And I mean, I was fat, so I'm like, I'll just jump on board, make all the steaks, and hopefully I can lose a little bit of weight. But same kind of thing with what you were saying, Rhett. Actually, my wife and I both started snoring like in our mid 30s, and it just kind of came on with the weight gain. And I was hoping that once I lost the weight that I'd stop snoring, but we noticed we both stopped snoring within about 2 weeks of starting, and just
incredible.
And it was kind of hard to even talk my wife into doing it. She's like, "Oh, I'll do it for 30 days." But after 30 days, you feel so good. And she's like, "Okay, well let's do 60 days, and let's do 90." She's like, "Okay, well let's not stop this."
So, Rhett, have you been retested for your sleep apnea?
I have not. I went back in to return the machine, right? Because I was still making payments on it. And the doctor looked at me and he goes, "Why are you returning this?" I said, "I don't need it anymore. I don't have sleep apnea." And he looked at me, he goes, "Your chart says you're 300 pounds. I said, "I'm not anymore." and he goes, I told him the story and told him I'm 210 pounds. I no longer snore, and I do not need this, and I don't want to make payments on it anymore. He said, "You absolutely did the work, and I'm happy to take the machine back from you." It was a very neat, freeing experience.
So again, similar. I was on the CPAP machine myself, and I tried all the different masks, and I felt like I got less sleep wearing that mask than without it, right? And so I never ever wore it, and I quit snoring as well. But I'm still. I would love to go and get tested again, just to see what the change is. And I may and may not do that. I'm more interested in my A1C, my cholesterol, all that other stuff. But I just, out of curiosity, I would love to get that checked again. And if I can get insurance to cover that, then I'll do it. But if I got to pay out of pocket, I never wore the darn thing anyway. So
I think just waking up with more energy was what told me I no longer had sleep apnea. Like, I woke up and knew I was having the right amount of sleep and sleeping well.
A lot better sleep too, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I was so confident. But lots of doctors will say, "Look, hey, if you can lose the weight, you can probably do something about this," right? But they're very hesitant to steer you that direction. I wish somebody had just said, "Dude, knock me upside the head, lose the weight, and you can get rid of that machine."
Right.
But it's not that easy. Carnivore came and made that a little bit easier, because holy smokes, it just makes sense.
How much weight have you guys lost combined?
What, about 150?
170. Wow. I got about 70 altogether. You've got 100.
Well, I'm back up a little bit, so
right in that range. Right in that range. It's been remarkable. How about you guys?
I'm at about 50.
Same. So I'm about 50 down as well. Nice. So, and cool. I'm actually coming up on my 1 year too, March 5th. So
Oh, cool. Very
I,
close. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I was, I'm sorry, Rick, how long have you been doing the carnivore diet?
I started on June 15th,
Okay. So a
23.
little
Yeah.
later,
So,
but
yeah. Yeah. And
still
Doug
great.
and I live a couple hours apart. And he doesn't do the Facebook thing. So we didn't have that advantage. But
Okay.
I was down, we were at my dad's house at an event one night or one day. And so that was the first time I had seen Doug in months. And I was like, doggone, man, you've lost a lot of weight. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then,
No.
and at first, when he told me about it, I'm like, this is freaking nuts. I mean,
Right.
saturated fat and red meat's going to kill you. Don't you know anything?
yeah.
Right.
And we're starting to learn that's no longer the truth.
Not at
We've
all.
all been deceived.
Not
So
at all. Isn't that crazy?
yeah,
Well,
it is.
you told the story about when you got together as a family. We recently got together. It was right after Christmas, and we were in Florida, and we were going to spend New Year's together. So one of the plans that I had, I actually bought last year a full rib loin that you can cut into ribeyes, right? So I had that bone in. I'd froze it, and I was like, all right, I'm bringing that to Florida. So my parents were driving down. We were flying down, so I loaded up into a cooler with my parents, and they brought the full thing down. And for our New Year's Eve dinner, I cut that thing up, and we all had ribeyes, and it was fantastic. And it's really funny because Rhett and I started, and when I started I've got to tell my mom, she didn't say I was crazy. She just thought it was nuts that I was going to do this diet. And I said she told me I was crazy, and she said I didn't say that, but yeah, no, she thought I was nuts, and for all the reasons, the red meat and the cholesterol is going to kill you and all that stuff, and no veggies. She couldn't believe it. Now both of them are carnivore. My dad's lost 40 pounds. My mom's lost 35. Both of them look and feel great, and they're doing fantastic.
Nice.
We have a twin brother for me, older brother for Rhett, that is now started on carnivore. He's about a month and a half, 2 months in. And then we just got a text message from our sister and her husband, who just started for the month of February, and they're doing carnivore. So we're super excited. It's kind of spread all the way through our family, even though we don't live anywhere close.
We're all over the place.
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome to see.
We'll have to do one big video with all of us and just,
Right.
seriously, I think that would be cool. Just get all these people together and talk about, man, all the wonderful things this has done for us,
Yeah.
Yeah. Our sister, she's not strict carnivore, but she does it a little bit. But she's in much better health. She started out in a much better place than Rick or I did, so
Yeah.
she didn't need to go as strict necessarily. But now, yeah, my wife's cousins, I actually talked to them about a month ago. They all started it. They did the World Carnivore Month for January. I don't know how long they're continuing it, but so far they seem to be losing weight and feeling good. So
It's great. Yeah, my sister already reported back. Let's see, a week and a half in, she was like, "This is the best I've felt in a long time."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where she's at weight wise or anything else like that, but she's at least feeling good. And then my wife has been doing for the month of February. She was doing the BB&E challenge. She'd done some other diet stuff like that, but one thing she's amazed by with this is she's like, how full I'm getting. She's like, I don't really. And she goes, I need a steak. She keeps telling me every night, I need a steak. And so
I love it.
It's so funny to see the change that way. But she's saying like that. She used to snack all the time, and she would be one of those that gets a little hangry, right? If she got hungry, she needed something right then and there. And that has really, I wouldn't say it's completely gone, but she's definitely noticed a difference, how the hunger is just not the same at all. She's doesn't have that ravenous hunger, I gotta eat right now feeling anymore.
yeah.
It was really cool for the Super Bowl. We went over to some friends' house who are not carnivore, but what was really nice about it, and come think of it, I didn't even thank them, I don't think, but they know I'm carnivore, and so all the snacks there it was pulled pork, meatballs,
Nice.
bison chili. They had lamb summer sausage lamb, and
Wow.
so it was all this meat. Of course, they had chips and dip for other people, but it was,
Lots of
I mean, a
options.
majority of it was a meat-based diet, and I thought I should have thanked them, and I didn't. So now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go back and thank them for that.
Oh, that's very cool.
Because they did it for my benefit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, do you guys use any spices or anything with your cooking, or you just?
I started out doing, doing my regular steak seasoning on my steaks and stuff like that, but I've gotten to where I like it with just salt better. I use the Redmond's Real Talk. They've got a smoked salt, and my wife and I use that strictly on our steaks now. I did cook a really good brisket. Me and Red are in a competition for a brisket cook-off, I think. So I had a really good one the other night, and I did use I don't know if you're familiar with Meat Church. He's got a YouTube channel. It does all sorts of, and he's got his own rubs and stuff. But his holy cow recipe is a sugar-free. I mean, if you ever try and find brisket rubs that don't have sugar, it's almost impossible. It's in everything. So, but his holy cow doesn't have sugar in it, and it's really clean ingredients. So it's salt, pepper, and a couple of garlic and a few other things in there, but it's clean. So I'll use that on the brisket. But other than that, I've pretty much gone to just straight salt.
I made a brisket last night actually, and I know pepper's not technically carnivore, but I'm fine with pepper, so I'm not going to do a brisket without one.
Right.
And so I'm not totally too restrictive with it, but I do try and do the same thing as Ashley said, try and avoid the ones with sugar. There's a couple of those Meat Church ones that I do my Thanksgiving turkey with, and that's a voodoo, and it does have some sugar in it. It's the best turkey I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, oh, do I use it again? I don't want to break what's not broken here, but I'm gonna steer clear of that one this year and try and find something without sugar. But I mean, like Ashley said, it is hard to find seasonings without sugar.
I've been finding that early on in carnivore, I was using a lot of spices with and without sugar, but the deeper I get into it, the more I cut back on it. And so, like we did a video with making bacon, where it was very dirty carnivore, where there was some brown sugar and maple and all that. And I think the next batch of bacon I make, I'm going to try to just do a salt only bacon, because I'm seeing so many benefits from it. But then when you do that dirty carnivore, you kind of start to feel guilty about it. And maybe that's why people aren't watching us sometimes, because that's got sugar. They don't know what they're doing. So I have been getting more and more away from it, especially if it has sugar. But some of the other ones I'll still use if I need that flavor, but I've been kind of veering away from it.
I make my eggs now with the Redmond salt only, and which is a big step for me, because I used to always put garlic and Montreal steak seasoning, something like that, right? Like I love spicing up the eggs. But yeah, I've gotten to where I'm doing Redmond salt a lot only. But I'm with brisket and a couple recipes, I'm gonna break out a few of the spices.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far my philosophy has been kind of I'll use anything if it's in a spice amount, but I won't use it as an ingredient. If you know what I mean. So like if you're talking about just a rub, or something where you're really getting a couple tablespoons on there to several pounds of meat, to me that's not a big deal. But if you're talking about like cups and worth of all of this extra crap, I do try to stay away from that. But the same, the more you eat it, the more it's just like, oh, I guess I didn't really need all that stuff anyway. Which is weird for me, because I was always kind of the home chef. Like before my steaks would always be, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and then I would do the brown butter with the thyme and the rosemary. Which I still do brown butter with my steaks. I still love that. So.
I always talk about butter now.
How did you guys decide to start a YouTube channel, and what went into the thought process behind that? The Brady
I
Bunch.
think you're muted, Ash. There you go. Oh no, you're still. We can't hear you.
No.
All right, how about now?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, I was clicking around because I was loading that video of the brisket that we just did to show it off again here in a minute. But no, we started the YouTube channel because it was actually, you guys are familiar with Carrie from Homestead How, I'm sure, and it was his 30-day video that really got me. That was what pushed me over the edge on the carnivore thing, and so we followed him very closely. Well, he did that. I don't know if you're familiar, but he did a 24-hour live stream at one time to raise some funds for the Healing Humanity documentary that he's doing. And Rhett and I have been pretty close to that and following along with that. And I was on one of one of his streams at one point, and he said, "Hey, if you want to submit a video, if you guys are have a YouTube channel, whatever else, we're going to put these all together on the 24-hour live streams. We're going to show them all." And I was like, "All right, I'm in." I just called Rhett and I was like, "We're starting a YouTube channel." I just typed it up. It's called the Carnivore Brothers. And I forced him into it. We didn't really have a plan, but I wanted to get a video put together and do that because, again, it was more of a just, we wanted to document our story too. And when we had a platform to do that, I thought, oh, that's really cool. I'd love to get a channel on there. And our first one of our first videos, it was right after my parents started with carnivore, and Dad took a picture of himself in his old Boy Scout uniform where he hadn't worn since he was 25 years old. He's now 77. And it was really just inspiring to see that difference, and from his picture with the weight, and then the little skinny guy that got into the Boy Scout uniform again. And Kerry went nuts over it. He loved it, and they showed it. It was on Intentional Carnivore a couple of times, or there was a couple of things so that kind of got us pumped up about it. And we're like, all right, now what are we going to do? We got to get this channel going. So
Right.
we've started working on a few things, but we're passionate about the results we've seen, and so we want to definitely do that, give updates. And our first couple of videos was just a real, like, here's our backstory, here's what's going on, and that seemed to resonate with a few people. We got several comments on it and thought that was really nice. And we've just found the carnivore community is just incredible about encouragement, and we're the same way. We just want to support other people in their journey and follow along and just continue to see this, because I don't hear negative. I can't think of a negative result that I've heard of somebody on the carnivore diet who stayed on the carnivore diet and said all of a sudden, oh no, my cholesterol is now through the roof, and I just checked the scans, and I've got cholesterol plaque all in the veins, and I can't go say on anyone. No, nobody said that. It's all, my cholesterol's better. All the results are better. I haven't had a heart attack yet. Everything's going great. Like, it's just crazy to me that there's so many positive results coming off of this, even though it's completely different from what we've all been told for years and years and years.
Yep.
So
yeah, no doubt.
And then what else are we doing? Right, we've done some fitness challenges on ours, and we're starting to. I like to do. I started out my career in a steakhouse, and so I didn't realize how comfortable I am around meat and preparing meat and cutting meat and things like that compared to most people. So I've thought that would be a benefit to do and show some of that, and how to break down different cuts of meat and things like that. And then we've done a few different cooking. Rhett did a great one on some bacon here recently, on just a quick, easy method to cook bacon, and that one's taken off with a ton of views. And so just a few things like that. We're working on the brisket videos. That's coming up next. Hopefully I'll get that one out this weekend. And so we're just going to keep on.
We're still trying to figure it out.
Keep on trucking.
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway for me was, just we kept asking, how can we help? How can we help? And it seems like anybody in the carnivore community is saying, create a channel, get your word out, just reach to as many people as you can. And so that's really the why, as to why we just kind of jumped in and started doing that, because ultimately we felt a calling to, and a passion to just start helping people, because it's like our eyes are open to a much healthier, happier life.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a similar story with Doug and I, especially, Doug got onto it first, and And after I saw him at my dad's house the one day, I walked away still thinking he was crazy, right? And I was at home one night and I was looking for something on YouTube, and I saw a carnivore video, and so I clicked on it and I went down that rabbit hole, and it was over for me. And so when I started the carnivore diet, my wife had also started it, and man, I was just watching every day. I was watching a new video, what to do, how to do it, and just keep myself motivated and keep myself going. And I was sitting there one night thinking, man, it'd be kind of cool to do a YouTube video or a YouTube channel to help spread the word and document, like you guys were saying, and help spread the word. And so I went to my wife first, and I'm like, hey, would you want to do a YouTube channel? And she said no. And I was like, man, darn. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? And so I thought, wait a minute. Doug does carnivore. And so I called him one night, and I thought, because we both love to hunt. We go hunting every year. And we were trying to figure out a way we could make our channel a little bit more unique. And so we kind of blend hunting with the carnivore lifestyle. And, we both have a freezer full of deer and elk meat. So it's kind of easy for us. And awesome. That's how our channel kind of came to be. Yeah.
Oh, we lost your lost audio, Rick.
Mic swap.
Not yet.
No. Well, yeah, we both have said that it's not like Rhett said, it's a little bit of a passion project. We're not in it to become big famous YouTubers or anything like that, but we've both been inspired, and we had the pleasure of actually even flying up to Chicago and doing the meetup with Carrie, and we've just really been trying to be involved with that and really just kind of be one of those stories we could help share. And hopefully, again, if people are inspired, people can learn a few things from us or relate to our stories. That's what we're after, and it's been super, super fun doing that, and then seeing other people who have jumped in as a result, especially with our immediate family, and seeing good results.
And that's one. Yeah. Oh.
I was going to say, especially with
you're
how
muted
much
now. Sorry.
Especially with how they're still kind of really trying to suppress the message, right? So I think the more of us that get out there and help spread the word, and people can see that, regular people are doing this, and we're not nuts. I mean, we might be nuts, but not for the diet. There's my mental capacity is due to other things, but
fair. That's for another episode for me.
Yeah, that's another episode altogether.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Thank goodness.
You're back.
Sheesh. All right. Well, I was struggling there for a minute, so I kind of got lost in the conversation.
If I can, I did have a question for you while you're kind of getting reassociated there. I was going to ask, since you guys are hunters, and I earlier before we started this, I said you're kind of living my dream. I've never hunted anything before. I've fished a lot, but never hunted anything. What's the biggest game that you've ever hunted?
Elk.
Okay.
Yeah. And up there in the Northwest, man, you got your choice of Roosevelt or Rocky Mountain elk. We're out here in Colorado. We just have the Rocky Mountain elk.
Okay.
In Oregon, you've got the mule deer, the whitetail, and I believe you have blacktail deer too. I'm not sure what the regulations are around all those animals, but I know I've elk hunted Oregon, and it's, if you're west of the Cascades, it's much different than if you're east of the Cascades, just because if you go west, you're in more dense, more, I don't know. It's almost more difficult to hunt in, I think, because it's just more dense and harder to get through sometimes, or at least where I hunted, it was. Whereas if I had gone east to hunt, I think I would have done better. But my goal while I was there was I had never hunted Roosevelt uh, before I left Colorado, obviously, and so my whole goal while I was up in the Northwest was to get a Roosevelt elk, and I never did. I was only there for a few years, but man, I sure had fun trying though.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
How often are you out fishing, Rhett? I mean, you're in the prime fishing territory.
I
up
am
there.
watching the calendar tick by as we're getting real close to Springer season. So, there's some diehards out there that'll be trying today. But I'm going to give it a few more weeks before the first few Springers are going to be caught, and then they'll start rolling in closer to the 1st of April.
Do you do any crabbing or deep sea or any of that?
Some. I have a guide friend that we go together at times. Every once in a while, he'll have a couple spots on the boat. He's like, hey, you pay for gas and come hop on the boat, right? And so I'll come help him out, pull some crab traps up, and pay for. I think you pay $1 per crab for them to clean them there, and you just do it right there at the marina and take them home and have a feast when you get home. So it's a beautiful place to live. Lots of different options. Crabbing and salmon fishing in one day. We've done that too. So
yeah. What about you, Ashley? Are you close to the Gulf, or would you have to drive away?
I live in Texas, so I'm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are you close to the Gulf?
I'm in the Dallas area, so no, I don't. I don't ever get out to fish. Unfortunately, since my dad moved down here, he's been bugging me a lot to try and get out there and go fishing with him and take him out. But I don't have a boat or anything to do that, so we have not been fishing. And you don't want to hear my one hunting story at all.
Now we kind of do.
We might have to bring him onto hunting confessions. We have a little.
These are my confessions.
I've only been hunting one time. A buddy of mine in college took me hunting. I'd never even shot a gun before, so that's where I keep going back with my excuses because I didn't even know how to shoot. But I think I missed a deer at like 15 feet. So. It was pretty funny. I got it. They saw one and they're like, Ashley, you get that one. I get out of the van that they're in. I'm like munching on gravel. They were just laughing hysterically. They're like, how in the world did that deer not spook and run off? I'm crunching around I start to aim. I'm all wobbly. I can't get it. So I get down on a knee, take a few more steps. Anyway, all I could see was its head. And when I shot it, just kicked back up over top of it, I'm sure. But yeah.
Being your first time, I'm sure your adrenaline was going like crazy, and you were just like, "Oh, please let me get this one." And I think every first time hunter, I think, experiences that where the adrenaline's just overwhelming, and you're shaking, like you're trembling, hoping to make that shot. But once you get a few years under your belt, you still get the adrenaline rush, but all the trembling and everything else kind of goes away because you kind of learn to steady your gun, right? Where you can make that perfect shot. So
I'd love to give it a shot again, but haven't had the opportunity. So
yeah. Oh, geez, what else do we have, Doug?
I like these lives. I learned something new about my brother.
I haven't told you that. I don't tell that story very often.
So have you guys hit all your goals, and are you just maintaining at this point, or do you still need to have some goals to hit? And then what are your plans afterwards?
I think weight wise, I've gotten close to where I don't know. In high school, I remember weighing 180, and I'm at 180 now. And I still have a little bit of a belly that I'm like, man, it'd be great to lose that last bit and whatever. So I don't know if that's more fitness related and working out a little bit more. So that's where I've kind of started up a little bit, trying to see. I really wanted to get into sprinting this month and do some sprinting, but with the weather being at kind of the cold months here in Texas, I haven't done a lot I did a couple of sprints, but haven't been consistent. But I plan on doing that. I plan on doing some things for the next couple of months to see if that's going to help. I feel like I've shed most of the weight. Now I really want to build the muscle back up. Sometimes I feel a little bit like I don't think I've lost muscle, but I don't feel like I'm putting on any muscle. I'll put it that way. And so I know I've got to lift heavy things and work out a little bit more in order to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. About you, Rhett?
Yeah. Like I said, I've fluctuated a little bit here since Thanksgiving, but at my best, I had lost 100 pounds. I'm up about 15 from that. And so, I have new goals, right? So starting pretty soon, I was going to start today. And actually I've been good today, so maybe I can't count this as day one. But I think I'm starting with a 30-day challenge again.
Rhett, eat your heart out, man. You cannot beat this, bro.
Oh,
sorry about that.
That's all right.
Oh, that's okay.
I muted it. Oh, you must have paused it, huh?
I'll remove it for right now. We can show that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Anyway, go ahead, Rhett.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Anyway, I'm setting some new goals. I'm feeling great. I'm starting to get a little sluggish again, as I've cheated a few times recently, and I've just decided, you know what? Even not calling it cheat, I'm in on the lifestyle, and so I just have to kind of get recentered and figure this back out and get back going again. But so the way I'm doing it is kind of starting a 30-day challenge again, and I'm going to go to 60 to 90, and then kind of, maybe February 13th, 2024 is my new day one, but I'm not going to discount everything I did last year. Right. So I've taken a few steps backwards, but I'm about to take some more steps forward. So, and that's the wonderful thing about this lifestyle is, that clarity of mind that, it is easier to kind of get back up on the horse when you fall off, knowing that you've tasted those benefits of how you can feel. And I have felt years younger. I'm 45. And I feel better than I did when I was 30. And I think I was watching one of your guys' videos earlier, and you were talking about the same thing. Just, even maybe late 20s, you're feeling better than that. Like it's that real. He's like, how many years have I gotten back on my life just by doing this for 1 year?
Yeah, Rick and I both have grandkids. I am more active with my grandson than I was with my kids.
Wow.
So,
that's amazing.
It's an amazing turnaround. We also had a condition we got from our mother. It's called familial tremors. It kind of makes you shake pretty bad. We were told our whole lives by our doctors that there was nothing you can do about it. It's hereditary. You're just going to live with it for the rest of your life. And neither of us shake anymore.
Wow.
Like I with my kids, when I'd go to feed them, I would end up all over their face, not because they were moving, because I was. And I can completely steady hand feed my grandson now. So
that's awesome. I've heard a lot of healing stories. I have not heard that tremors story. That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah. And it's those things that you don't even realize, which is another reason why I agreed to document this with Rick, because I was realizing it's you almost forget how bad you felt before. Once the problems go away, you're just like, oh yeah, I used to have that. Yeah, my shoulder was hurting me, and I had plantar fasciitis, and we were shaking, but it doesn't
until you
anymore.
cheat. Until you cheat, because
it comes back.
We've most of us have cheated, and then you go back to feeling bad, and you're like, what did I just do to myself?
Yeah.
And then you got to get yourself back on track.
Yeah.
We were talking to he's a hunting guide from Colorado here in one of our episodes, and he actually, just by chance, we were talking to him about hunting, but by chance he also was on carnivore, and he mentioned when he cheats, he gets like a hangover.
Yeah, he calls it a food hangover.
Yeah.
And
I guess around Christmas they went to an Italian restaurant, and he's just like, okay, screw it, I'm gonna go ahead and have the lasagna or whatever. And he's like, the next morning, just immediately feeling groggy and
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I can relate somewhat to that. I definitely no. I mean, after doing carnivore for so long, you get so in tune with your body. You cheat. You wake up the next day and go, "Whoa! I mean, was that worth it?" Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can
Yeah.
feel a difference.
Yeah.
yeah. And I've also noticed that those things that when I have slipped up a little bit, the things that I used to love, some sugary snacks or whatever, it's not even worth it. It doesn't taste as good as my memory of it.
Right.
So
Right. And that's me too, especially with the type 2 diabetes. Like this is my lifestyle now. I have no intention of going back because I know how my body reacts to the carbs and the sugars, and I don't want to travel down that path again. But what's crazy is when I was doing the paleo diet, I never lost the cravings. I couldn't wait for my next ice cream or slice of pizza or that, I just, oh man. And I didn't have any willpower in that. So I lost that after the trial 3 months. I was like, all right. So now it's just different. The craving's not even there. I can see the foods. I can see it right in front of my face. I can smell it. I'm like, it's good. I don't need it. I don't need it. And the mindset has totally shifted for me, which is fantastic. I'm not saying I'm not, tempted by certain things. I certainly am. And ice cream's a big weakness, or always was a big weakness for me. We've got a great, for my Father's Day, I got a ice cream maker because of Dr. Kiltz's ice cream. I thought, oh, there we go. I'm going to try some Dr. Kiltz's ice cream. And I tried it. It was like, oh, this is so bland. It's terrible. I didn't do any sweetener in it. Not, all right, maybe a little bit of sweetener. Well, my daughter has perfected the mint ice cream with it, where we use a little bit of the essential oils, mint, peppermint oil to flavor it. And it's phenomenal. And so we have that occasionally. That's my one little go-to.
Oh, you are going to share that with me today.
Yeah. Probably need to do a video on it, but it's if you have an ice cream maker, it's fantastic because it's the same recipe. It's just the heavy cream, it's the eggs, and she puts the peppermint oil in to flavor it, a little bit of salt, and we put it in that thing, and it whips up nice and creamy. And then we've also got some chocolate chips that are really clean. I think they have a little bit of stevia in it, and she really likes those. So she's not carnivore, so she gets the chocolate chips in there too. But that satisfies that ice cream craving every once in a while.
Yeah. I actually bought Dr. Klitz one of the ice cream makers that he had in his videos, specifically because that was one of my wife's things. She wants to be able to do that every once in a while. So I don't know, once a month or so, we've thrown those. I've made some ice cream for one that I actually did to kind of mix up the flavors a little bit. I got some of the Fairlife protein shake, because it's still got a little sugar in it, but it's like half the sugar and twice the protein.
Okay.
So I do half heavy cream and half of the Fairlife, and that actually it made a nice
difference.
Blander than your average chocolate, but it gave that illusion of a chocolate ice cream that was pretty good.
Well, you've inspired me. We'll do a video at some point on it, and I'll make sure I send that to you guys. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, Jeep 44 is on his or her second week, 6 pounds down, and
oh, nice.
Fellow Coloradans here, Doug.
Oh, Colorado.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that and commenting too. That second week can be a challenging one, because I think the first week's probably harder, right? But the second week you're starting to see a little bit of the result and feel a little bit of the result. So now you're like, okay, maybe this is working. So nice to see 6 pounds down already. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that second and third week is also critical, because that's when you start to get rid of all those cravings for the sugars and the processed foods. It just the longer you can stick with it, the more you can walk away from all the other junk, right?
Yeah, I had in that second week, I was the guy that got the really bad keto flu. So you push through it. Make sure you have some electrolytes if that happens to you. I made the mistake of literally having a giant slice of cake one night to carnivore the next day. So that's not the best way to handle it, but get some electrolytes if that happens to you, push through, and it's going to be worth it definitely on the other side.
Yeah, I love it.
I see G44 in there talking there. If you have any questions for us on, you're in week 2, if anything you've seen or anything that you have, we're not experts, but we've certainly been through that first little bit. So happy to share with you if you have any questions.
Absolutely.
And I was gonna just mention too that because you talked about any of the other goals, and that's where I go back to this being the lifestyle. I've set different goals, but it's funny, the carnivore mindset is just there now, and my goal is to continue, because I've been inspired by other people who get inspired by me. So that gives me motivation to keep on going and keep on being an example. And so it's just one of those things. If I can help others who are diabetic learn that, hey, there's something more that you can do other than just the meds that you've been handed and the insulin that you're injected into your body, and eventually all the terrible things that can happen from it. Again, I had no idea what diabetes even was when I was first diagnosed, and like I said earlier, my wife had to teach me what a carb was. I just so clueless. I just ate whatever was in front of me, and I ate it by the ton. So that was, there's a lot of people out there, I feel like, that just don't have that information, and they trust their doctors who are very well educated and go to a lot of school, and they don't have the nutritional education that we're learning so much on YouTube and from these other good doctors who are taking a step back and saying, hey, wait a second, there's something to these thousands and thousands and thousands of results that are turning things around.
Yeah, exactly, man. I put my health right in the trust of my doctor's hands for so many years, thinking they knew what was best for me. And when I reflect back on it, I get irritated because these guys are supposed to be the experts, and it's the older I get, it's like the less people I trust. And now I can't even trust my freaking doctor. So you got to take your life into your own hands and your health, and that's what I've done since June 15th. I've just taken I've taken myself off all the meds except for a blood pressure med, because when I took myself off, my blood pressure shot up. I'm hoping to be off that soon, but I took myself off all the statins and everything else. The heartburn med, I don't even get heartburn anymore.
Mm-hmm. I used to get it bad.
Yeah. And so I took myself off of those meds, and
it's great.
It's funny. We all kind of come up and we're not most people are not eating for nutrition. They're just eating for that 30 seconds of mouth pleasure. Mm-hmm. And then it goes away. And so they're just looking for their next hit, their next fix. So thanks for following us, Jeep. Bye.
Yeah. Dr. Berry said in his book, I don't know if you guys have read his first book, the lies that Doctor told me. But in his first chapter, he goes through that, and don't think, and he spells it out really nicely. Doctors are not generally out to get anybody. This is not like a big conspiracy. They just don't know the difference a lot of times. And he goes through what their nutritional education was in med school, and how little it was, and why a lot of them think that way. But they're taught from med school, don't go against what medicine tells you, and don't buck the system. This is the best way, and these are the charts, these are the numbers, and you have to follow these charts and numbers. If they're up here, then this equals this medicine. And the only other education they're continuing to get is usually from the drug reps. And so, it's not that they're intentionally harming people, but it's fascinating to me to hear the stories of the Dr. Berrys out there that say, okay, when it started happening to him, and he's like, okay, wait a second, I'm doing everything I was taught, and it's not fixing anything. There's got to be something different. And that's when the light bulb went off, and it's really we're just hoping that happens more. Everybody that I've talked to who's gone back to the doctor who's been on carnivore for a while had great results. The doctors gives the exact same advice. Keep doing what you're doing. Not, oh, the red meat's going to kill you. You need to get your veggies in there, all that kind of stuff. And they said, nope, I've seen enough in the lab work. Keep doing what you're doing. And it's funny. I mean, I just feel like there's more and more that are going to start catching on and start figuring things out and doing a little bit more research on this. And I think these studies that are coming out are really going to help.
Yeah. I think so
our friend Laura at Healthy Carnivores is another channel. She's a nurse, and that's exactly what.
Is that Laura Russell?
Yep.
I love her, and I love her channel because of that, because of her years of experience as a nurse. Because they can you can gain so much wisdom and knowledge through that.
Yeah, I'm reaching out to her quite a bit. Like, hey, what should I do about this? And especially when it comes to my blood pressure, I've been relying on her advice more than my own doctor.
She's great.
So
and it's working.
She's
other than like your doctor.
Yeah.
Right.
So G44 is talking about smoking, and it looks like you want to throw up this brisket video. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. If you want to start, it's just a little bit of a clip that I put up the other day. This is, I guess, a preview to our brisket video. I made this little clip just for Ed if you want to play it, or I can.
Yeah, I screwed it up last time, so
no, I think
I'll let you go.
Go ahead. If you start it, I think it'll play automatically. It just allows me to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So add to stage.
Come in closer. This one's for Uncle Rat. Rat, eat your heart out, man. You cannot beat this brisket. I'm telling you, this is the best one I've ever done. Look at that. Look at how tender. Look at how moist. Oh, it's amazing. Cannot wait to eat this.
Look at that look at the end there. He's like, "Oh, you're going down, buddy."
Little friendly competition between us in there.
That's the most sensuous look I've ever seen anyone give a brisket.
Yeah. And the handling of it, I didn't do mine well. I showed him a video yesterday. I'm like, "Ooh, look at this," and it just falls apart. And I'm like, "Uh-oh, did I overcook
it?" Doubted yourself. It looked good though. So, but yeah, no, it's that. I'm hoping to get that video put together. I don't think when we started this YouTube channel, we didn't realize how much time it takes to edit the videos and do all that. There's a lot that goes into it. So
yeah,
I'm hoping to have some time this weekend to put that together because I'm excited about getting that. I've been wanting to get a brisket video or get it out as soon as possible. Hey, Jeep asked a question on there. Throw that one up there if you don't mind. No, I don't inject my briskets. I have tried it before, and I didn't think it made that much of a difference with me. I know there's definitely some people that do and swear by it, but I have not injected.
I don't either.
Briskets. And I think if you cook it to the right temperature, the resting period to me is what makes all the difference in the world for a brisket and how moist it is. When you get it out, and this one I nailed because you got it to temperature. It was nice, perfect probe temperature or probe tender. And then when I pulled it out, I let it rest. I let it get down to about 160 degrees, 165 degrees. And then I just put it on the warming setting at 160 degrees in my smoker. And I left it there for 4 hours. And it was money.
So Doug and I, in about a week and a half here, we're going to do a video on summer sausage. We're going to make some, either some elk meat and
nice
a summer sausage. So
awesome.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is this going to be one that you've hunted yourself?
Oh yeah.
All right. There you go. I love it.
Yeah. Like I said, I've got a freezer full. Doug's got a freezer full, and then our dad's got a freezer full. So yeah, we'll, but we're going through it a lot quicker than we used to.
Yeah, probably.
It was a kind of a down hunting season for us this year too. We didn't harvest as much as we were expecting, so that's spending a little bit more on steaks this year than I'm used to.
Yeah.
I thought it would be fun to do a kokanee catch and cook video, and I've gone out kokanee fishing twice now in the last couple of weeks and come back with 0. You can't do a video when you're not catching.
Right.
Right.
So kokanee are smaller landlocked salmon. We have them stocked in the lakes here, and they're wonderful to smoke and eat that way. But generally, they don't get much bigger than about 14 inches. But fantastic little fish to catch and smoke up. And the limit's 10, so you can catch a bunch of them and fill your smoker in one day if you find them.
Right.
Great.
So I only had one last question here to ask you guys. How do you, since you guys are so far apart, how do you guys plan your videos? Like, you just kind of wing it?
Yeah, the interviews are easier to do. Obviously, we can get on live and do things like that together, and we just have to coordinate the times. But the videos, we haven't done too many where we're doing it. Some of our workout challenge videos we did together, and that was kind of cool. One of them we actually had Rhett's son be with a coach, and he taught us how to do the planks, and then we incorporated that, and then we each did our planks, and we did some individual videos together, and we just upload it to the same channel. And some of them we've sent each other the video links through Google Drive or whatever, and I'll try and put a video together and get it uploaded. But we need to. This is also an excuse that we have to get together more often and see each other. So it was fun to fly to Chicago, and then we had big plans when we were in Florida, but we didn't do any videos together.
We talked about it a lot, but we didn't. We were having so much fun. We just like, no, we can't work.
The first time our family had been together in 5-6 years, so it was all together. So we got a little distracted, especially with all the nieces and nephews, and getting to see all them and hang out and have fun.
Yeah, Rick and I have seen a lot more of each other this last year. I mean, it was usually our ATV trip, our hunting trip, and holidays. Like, that's when we saw each other before.
We talk a lot more for sure. Yeah. Weekly, daily. Yeah, it's awesome. It's
been fun. Yeah. And then we're trying to encourage. Well, we're not pushing my twin brother, but he's the. If he ever does come on the channel or put a video up on the channel, you'll see the difference. He's a video editing extraordinaire. He's got some really cool stuff that he's done with his family videos, and we'd love to get him doing a carnivore video or two, because he's got great editing skills, and he'll do a masterclass video, which would be awesome. But we'll see. We don't know if we're going to be the 3 Carnivore brothers maybe at some point.
Hey, we've got a sister in there too now too, you know. So
and then a brother-in-law on the way maybe too.
Yeah. That's been a huge fun part of it. And Ashley and I decided early on we're not going to push, we're not going to talk about it like crazy, you know, whatever. If people come to us with questions because they've seen change in our lives, then we'll talk about it and share. But we decided early we're not going to be pushy, and it has really shown to be a positive result. That people have been coming to us with questions. Some people move on and don't do it. Some people try. So, you know, but it's been nice having that conversation and just being, you know, some people with open minds are really giving it a shot. So I love the fact that we can help people through something as simple as this.
Yeah, my kids were kind of picking on me because they said that because I don't push it either, but then as soon as somebody asks a question, they're just like, all of a sudden you're like that door-to-door like religious person. It's just all of a sudden it's like, oh, have you heard the good word?
Yes. It's hard not to sometimes.
Yeah.
You open the door, I'm going through it. I'm running through it, and yeah, it's pretty. I've done the same thing many times. I told some friends of mine, I said, I need to work on my little elevator pitch and just get a short and condensed version, just to kind of like softly throw it out there versus the bull rush that I usually do when somebody opens the door.
Yeah. Looks like Jeep 44 might be checking out. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Jeep.
Well, another just last thing that I was going to say on there. Well, not the last thing, but one of the final things I was going to say on this, over the last year, I've gained a lot of confidence. At first, I was really nervous talking about it because I still was unsure. And I don't know if you guys went through that stage or not, but every time I felt something a little off, I'm like, I wonder, is this the carnivore diet that's doing it to me? You know, and so I was a little hesitant and whatever else. But now, I mean, I've been doing this so long and I've seen results from so many people. I really can't shut up about it, and I'm sure my family gets sick of me. But you know, it's something that I get so passionate about, because I just feel like there's so many people that don't know that. And especially we talk about having the different eyes on. You see people and you're like, oh, I know I could help you, you know, and you're like,
Yeah.
you know, just give it a shot, 30 days. I know you could do this, and feel the results, see the difference. And a buddy of mine who actually introduced me to carnivore, he's in the behavioral health area, sorry. And he said, he goes, the most frustrating thing is like, people are okay with all these meds, all the ailments, all the pains, all this kind of stuff, and they're like, no, I don't want to give up my carbs, I can't do it. It's like, there's so it would so much benefit if you would just try it and give it up for a little while and see what happens.
Yeah, I've had many of those conversations myself. Where I work, there's hundreds of people that work in my building. So the ones that I work with a lot closely, they'll ask me about it, and I haven't had one taker yet. I don't think. I've had people claim, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do that," and then you walk by their cube the next day and they're eating potato chips or something, and you know.
Yeah, and if you look at people, anybody, whether it's us or one of the other channels, you see the before and after pictures on everybody. It's not just the weight. You see their face is healthier.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't use before, they'll have like even I had like the dark circles under the eyes, and you know, kind of pale skin, but the after pictures, everybody looks so much healthier in the face. And that's what blows my mind more than anything. It's just like, you see people on the street now and you're like, oh yeah, you're not healthy. Like,
yeah.
Hello, Beth.
Hey, Beth.
Hey, Beth.
All right. So, actually, Jeep, I started Carnivore March 5th of 2023. So I am coming up on my 1 year.
Yep. And I started on June 15th.
So. And unfortunately, I've been within 10 pounds of my original goal weight since just before Christmas.
Yeah, I've hit a huge plateau myself, man.
That last bit, doesn't it? Now, do either one of you guys do cheese or cream, or did you find that stunted your weight loss at all?
I did in the beginning, and I found it stunted my weight loss. And so I do it on very rare occasions. I mean, very rare. But yeah, most of the time, if we buy some cheese, it winds up going in the garbage because it got moldy. So, yeah. Now, once I hit my goals, I think I'll reintroduce it.
Yeah, me too. I'm not going to be near as scared about reintroducing a few things that I know are good, and you know, having those. I never had real dietary issues that came up, you know. So hopefully I don't. But like Rhett said earlier, now that I'm kind of pretty much in tune with my body, I can tell when I do, and I'm like, oh, maybe I don't want to have that anymore. But I'm trying to eliminate coffee. That's something I never did get rid of. So for the month of February, I haven't had any coffee for this month, and I wanted to see if it made a difference. And if it doesn't, I can't wait to add it back in March 1st. But
yeah. So yeah. I started out, we cut out the coffee early, for, I think it was almost the first month. And then we added it back in and really didn't see a difference. And also, Jeep, yes, I use butter, and I actually put butter in my coffee. We got rid of the creamer and the sugar. I take a tablespoon of butter, throw it in. I have a big coffee mug, and then I hit it with one of those frothers to get it nice and mixed in there. And actually, that's the way I prefer it now. Like, it tastes really good.
Good. The butter coffee's good. And any kind of lean steak, like a New York strip or something like that, if that's what I got, because that was what was on sale for the week, I'll always throw several pads of butter on it and eat that with it. I've got to where I like eating the cold butter, so I'll slice my steak and I'll put a chunk of the cold butter with it. It's just the way I prefer it.
You know what's hilarious? Before I did all the research on all this, is my wife, when she would eat a piece of bread, she just packed the butter on there and eat it, and I'm like, ugh. Like I thought it was just so horrible for you at that time, and now, if I'm putting butter on something, I'm packing the butter on thick, and it doesn't scare me like it used to.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm the same. I pretty much regulate my fat intake with the butter. I always thought that I was allergic to or lactose intolerant, allergic to dairy in some way. But I'd never really gotten a test. But through doing carnivore, I realized that it was wheat. It was not dairy at all. And by eliminating everything and then reintroducing something slowly, I was able to see, holy smokes, I don't have any issues with dairy at all. It did slow down my weight loss, but no bodily function issues, if you will, as opposed to when you have wheat. If I even have a beer, sometimes I have a reaction to it, which frustrates me because I love beer. I love trying all different types, and now I'm questioning, is it worth it? Knowing the next day, I don't know. I've been struggling with that because, if you ask any of my friends, Rhett loves to try the new beer that's on tap or something, right? I just love doing that.
Yeah, it made for an interesting hunting camp when all of a sudden we're like, and to be, we had a few, but it was not like before. And we don't, for anybody who's listening, we don't drink while we're hunting, but in the evenings when you're at camp. I just want to make sure that was clear because somebody. But
only Ashley did missing at 15 feet.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
I set myself up.
Thoughts? Bacon is wonderful. That's actually something we took hunting. My brother made his jerky, which was kind of a salty. Mine kind of tastes like teriyaki. So we had two different types of deer jerky, and every day we would mix it in. We did Dr. Barry's bacon recipe where we made several pounds in a big pot at once, and so we had the two different types of jerky and the bacon, and that's what we ate every day when we were out in the field. So
nice.
Don't be afraid of the bacon.
Yeah, and when I'm doing because I eat eggs and bacon every day, and I'll do 5 eggs with 5, 6, 7 pieces of bacon every day.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that'll be enough. I'm not hungry after that. I won't need to eat a steak after that, or I might do some sardines or something in between. I never used to eat sardines until I started carnivore, and I've actually acquired a taste for it now, where I kind of like to eat them now.
Really? I still haven't tried. Everybody tells me they're so good for you, and I'm like,
man, I'm telling you, if you want to get your omega-3s, eat 1 can of sardines, and then you won't even need to supplement. Just eat your sardines. Well, and your salmon too, man.
Yeah,
you've got your salmon, which is good. Mom and Dad eat a lot of sardines. They've made me some, but it wasn't near as bad as I remembered it. So I need to eat more sardines too. Just me. If I have a choice, I choose a ribeye.
Yeah. Well, if you're trying to fast or OMAD or anything, it's a good way to just, if you start to feel a little hungry in between, it's a good way to just keep you satiated, that little extra boost, or at least it works for me. So
it's a good tip.
Yeah.
Yep.
And good point. It does have to be in water. And actually, with all the salt that we eat as carnivores, I get the water and no salt. I think I'm getting enough salt with everything else I'm doing on carnivore. So, that's what I do.
I think the electrolytes are more important when you start and then those first few weeks, because I've gotten to the point where I stopped taking the supplement electrolytes, and just with the amount of salt I use every day, I feel like I'm getting enough. But
yeah, I take it more as needed. Like if I start to feel sluggish, I'll throw an electrolyte in.
Yep.
Yeah. So how much meat
This
do you
is-
guys eat in a day typically?
I'm good with eating. I'm fortunate. I live in Texas, and so I watch the sales like crazy. And when the ribeyes or T-bones or New York strips go on sale, I mean they're $5.97 a pound. I buy everything that I can, and I've got a freezer stocked full that we can have. I pretty much have a ribeye every day, which is great. And then usually a couple eggs with it, or if I'm doing the 2 meals, my first meal is, well, today, for example, I had a little bit of that brisket and some eggs for my first meal of the day, and then I finished off some steak in the evening. And during my biggest weight loss, I was just doing I was doing 1 meal a day, and I was fine. And so it's usually a combination of eggs and steak or leftover steak for me. Hamburger is also a big go-to as far as hamburger patties, because my daughter really likes the hamburger, so we'll make that or some different variations of hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'd say I'm at least a pound a day. It's a lot more expensive out here. I'm in Washington State, and it's rare when I can find ribeye for under $14 a pound.
Sheesh.
And so New York's are on sale right now at my local grocery for $8 a pound, which is about as good as it gets here. So I stocked up a little bit there, but it's hard to stock up even at that price.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of eggs, I still do probably 3 or 4 steaks a week, and then I supplement with ground beef and chicken and whatever else.
Yeah.
Fish.
Check Costco. They have they usually have at least here they usually have a pretty good price on either several New York strips or several.
Yeah.
No,
still
I
buy-
go to Costco
It's
weekly,
gonna be
and
pretty-
it's pretty high here
Right.
still.
Oh, really?
Pretty
Yeah.
expensive. But I look at it this way too. I mean, I look at it. I can, even if you're paying, let's say you pay, $14.99 for a pound, which that's a lot. I don't like to pay that much either. But if I go to any fast food chain and order something in fast food, I'm paying $13 to $15, sometimes $20 for one person. Now it's terrible. I mean, it's just gotten so expensive anyway. So, I would much rather, if you gave me that choice, I'd rather have the ribeye.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, I think we've actually gone an hour and 15 here. So, do you guys have? Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you if they don't know already?
Yeah, if you don't know already, Carnivore Brothers on YouTube. That's pretty much, and then Rhett helps manage a little bit of us on Facebook.
I'm attempting it.
We're not very social media savvy, but Rhett's getting that going, and he's better at it than I am, so that's good. And we thank you guys for having us on the channel. We love meeting new carnivores, and the carnivore hunters. I like the what you guys put together on that, and so we were definitely excited about getting on here and meeting with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this would be fun. Just like I said in the beginning, the similarities between your stories and ours, and Doug and I are brothers. You guys are brothers. I thought it'd be a fun conversation to have, and I think it'd be fun to do it again sometime in the future and do some catching up. And
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
We love these little live chats and stuff like that. It's just great getting to know other carnivores too, and hear the stories. Because again, I'm still waiting for the one that's going to tear it up, saying it was awful and caused all this disease and caused all these terrible things that happened to me. It hasn't happened yet. We haven't heard that story yet.
totally agree.
Yeah, still waiting on that one myself. All righty, guys. Well, thank you all for tuning in. Everybody that commented, appreciate you guys stopping by and checking in with us. And thank you guys for showing up and having this little chat with us, guys.
Yeah.
Pleasure meeting you guys, and thank you everybody for tuning in.
Indeed. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Yep. See y'all later.